ABC 27 Digital Now Center. This is Beyond the Forecast with your most accurate local meteorologists.
Well, we say good morning, everybody. It is a good morning. I am meteorologist Brett Thackara. It is so good to be with all of you here on this Thursday. We're not quite to the weekend yet, I will say, but we're well on the way, and when we get there, it's going to be a good one. We're excited. It's certainly an exciting time to talk about the forecast because we've got a hurricane brewing out in the ocean. We've got a nice weekend brewing here, although it may end a bit abruptly with some storms on Sunday, and we will get into all of that, of course. But I hope you're all well on this Thursday as we chat about the weather. It's great to be able to bring this content to you beyond the forecast, not only on social media, but you can also download our brand new ABC 27 Plus smart TV app. You can queue up these weather segments on their own. It's phenomenal. We've got our live broadcasts on there, and we've got a lot of extra content as well. Something that Dan Tomaso and I have been working on, our podcast, Weather Wagers. We talk about sports. We talk about how weather affects sports. And yes, we do talk about some of the betting lines that exist on some of these games and how the forecast may impact them. So lots of content on the ABC 27 Plus app. But right now we are going to focus on the forecast. And what was interesting was I said two things yesterday, not to pat myself on the back too much, but you know what? When we get a forecast dead on, we're going to tell you about it because we do like to think of ourselves as most accurate. And I said yesterday that most places across the region would get less than a quarter inch of rain, but there would be some isolated spots thanks to a convergence zone along a front that would see an inch or more. Well, guess what? That played out pretty nicely. Let's get to the graphics and show you the radar this morning. Pretty quiet, although there are some areas of mist and drizzle. Remember, these clouds are going to be stubborn today on this Thursday thanks to that stalled front and Hurricane Erin. This is the view from the accumulated rainfall over the last 24 hours. And guess what? Most places did indeed get less than a quarter inch of rain. In fact, the average accumulation for the viewing area was less than 0.2 of an inch of rain. But right where that convergence zone occurred, over southern Dauphin County, over western Lancaster County, northern York County, those spots did see an inch or a little bit more of rain yesterday. And it just so happened that the airport was one of those spots. The airport getting just shy of an inch, 96 hundredths yesterday with a high of only 70 degrees. That's 15 degrees below average. So the airport was cool and wet yesterday, and now our yearly departure, well, we've got a surplus again of about 2.5 inches. And one of the other spots that got nailed yesterday was Elizabethtown, standing water all over the place. The fair yesterday, the E-Town Fair, wasn't rained out, but you had to walk through a lot of puddles yesterday, especially in the evening after that storm passed through. So E-Town cloudy, maybe a little drizzly this morning. And you can see the winds coming from the north and east. And again, the satellite not picking up on the low-level crud that's around. But this is the flow today because we've got the outer bands of Hurricane Erin sitting just offshore, and we've got the front situated to the south. So don't expect these clouds to go anywhere. I do think it is going to be a rather dreary day. Temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. This is actually a little bit cooler than yesterday. We can see the numbers here over the last 24 hours. And then the dew points have dropped, too, into the 50s. So it's cool and comfortable. It's just dreary. And, of course, it has been that way for much of the week. But look at the wind speeds. New York, Philly, Allentown, about 15 to 20 mile-an-hour winds. Our winds aren't that high, but it is a little breezy. And, again, notice the wind direction, right, coming in from the north and east across the region. So a gray day, but not a bad day to play golf. I'd get out there if I wasn't working and play at least 9, maybe 18. It's going to be nice. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Yes, it will be cloudy, but I'd rather that than being out in 95-degree heat with the sunshine. So the surface setup looks like this. It's a little complicated because of the hurricane. Hurricane Erin now starting to make its push out to sea in large part because of this front. This is what brought us that heavy rain yesterday in spots. Now, you can also see we've got our northeast flow ahead of the front thanks to not only this stationary boundary, but also this high and clockwise flow around that. And then eventually, after this stuff pushes out, our flow changes to the northwest tonight, and we have sunny and dry weather to look forward to tomorrow. But look at how stubborn these clouds are, everybody. I'm telling you, Precision Cast keeps them around right through the evening hours. Even look at past 11 o'clock. Some of these clouds linger in the southwest. So sunshine may be very hard to come by today. If we get any peaks of it, then consider ourselves lucky. but it will be a nice day tomorrow. By tomorrow morning, it's going to be sunny. It's going to be gorgeous, low humidity, probably one of the best days of the summer. Both tomorrow and Saturday look good if you've got plans. Saturday will be mostly sunny, and things look gorgeous. Sunday's a different story, but we'll get into that in a second. Temperatures today in the mid-70s, cool and comfortable. Look at precision cast. Now, I was dubious that we would actually drop into the 50s last night, and we did. Precision Cast says we could do it again tonight, so I'll take it a little more seriously this time, and then low 80s tomorrow and just very comfortable. A bit of a breeze at times today. There's that northeast wind at about 5 to 15 miles an hour, and it will be noticeable at times. But Hurricane Erin is a big monster storm. Don't be deceived because it's only a Category 2. We never want to say that with a hurricane. It still has winds of 105 miles an hour. It is still swirling. Look at the massive size extending up the outer bands into New England. But you can also very clearly see how that turn is occurring, right? It was jogging to the north for a time yesterday, right? And, it kind of looks like it's always just going to slam right in. And now we can kind of see the center of the storm is pushing to the north and east and away from land. And that is where it will end up. A Category 2 hurricane right through tomorrow, but it will move into the Canadian Atlantic by later tomorrow and into the weekend, not to be remembered by anybody, which is a good thing. The extended outlook is going to talk about Sunday for a bit. First, dew points. Dew points are going to remain fairly low. I mean, when we look at this, I think the high humidity is gone. I really do. Now, Sunday, we may get a push of higher dew points thanks to a front because Friday and Saturday look nice. But this front on Sunday could trigger some thunderstorms. And that's where I want to go next because we want to talk about Sunday. That is going to be our next potentially active weather day. And we're going to show you what we mean. So let's take you through. We're going to show you here the NAM model, right, because that's one of our high-res models. And let's see if I can do that here. Here it is. There's the hurricane. Now, this is tomorrow morning, all right? So high pressure nosing in. There goes the hurricane. We're going to take you out through Saturday. High pressure still in control. Things look good. Now, watch, here comes Sunday. And you'll notice that a front is getting set to move in right here. And we've got some convection occurring out ahead of it. Now, what's interesting to me is I did not think, for the most part, that this convection was going to be a big problem. And I still don't. In fact, we're not under any type of a risk area from the Storm Prediction Center. But the National Weather Service, our branch in State College, had this to say, and I'm going to highlight it for you here in a second. Check this out. Sunday could be problematic from a potential severe thunderstorm standpoint, with the best overlap of CAPE, that's what we call convective available potential energy, that's a meteorological term, and wind shear, that we've seen in quite some time. We will continue to risk manage, but maybe front-running, in other words, getting out ahead of a future Storm Prediction Center outlook. We'll have to see how conditions evolve. Now, that's pretty interesting to me because while I was sort of writing off Sunday in my mind, obviously focusing on the hurricane, they seem to believe that conditions may be ripe for a severe weather day on Sunday, and it is something that I want to look into. Now, that if we do get a spike in dew points and the front is strong enough, perhaps we do see some active weather on Sunday, and that will be something that I pay close attention to here as we move into the second half of the weekend. Again, the models do show the front, so we will get some storms on Sunday, and then after that, we cool off and the weather will continue to be not unsettled, but kind of cloudy to partly cloudy next week. Cool. I mean, we're really talking about a pretty nice week to go back to school for many kids. So today, 75 degrees, cloudy with morning drizzle. Sunshine late may be a pipe dream. I'm not sure we're going to get much sun. 59 tonight, clearing skies, comfortable. I think a lot of us dip into the 50s. Low humidity tomorrow, just a gorgeous day. Both Friday and Saturday are going to be top 10 days of the summer. Absolutely gorgeous. Seasonable, too, with highs getting back into the low 80s. Scattered storms then on Sunday, and we want to keep an eye on that for the potential for severe weather. And then after that, cooling again next week with temperatures in the mid-70s. So some really good stuff. And when we take a look at the extended forecast too, and I'm going to pull that up for you here. Look at this. I mean, again, this is the NWS blend of models. It does not show any 90-degree weather coming back, and it also does not show any real heat coming back. I mean, 70s and low 80s? Are you kidding? That is going to be phenomenal. And finally, we'll wrap this up because it's my favorite thing to do is I want to talk about the dew points. So let's show you the dew points, and we're going to just take you out here through the weekend. And dew points really stay low going into, here's tomorrow. Dew points getting into the 50s. Hello. Even some, did I see some 40s in there? These dew points stay that way right through the day on Saturday. We're just going to take you out right through the day on Saturday. And then what I want to do here is I'm going to pull up, bear with me here, I'm going to pull up the European model because I want to go out even farther than that. So that was our high-res model. Look at these dew points going into Sunday. Let's see if we get a spike on Sunday. And we do. Look at the dew points on Sunday getting into the upper 60s. But then behind that, look at this push of dry air. That's what could cause our severe weather on Sunday, the drastic change in dew points. There's some really dry air coming in next week with dew points in the 40s and 50s. So look at the change we have in the weather. And by the way, look at how it stays that way too, friends, going forward. So maybe some humidity returning by the end of the period in early September, but the next 2 weeks look wonderful and not all that humid. So let's enjoy it. Let's celebrate it. That's a look at Beyond the Forecast, right? We talked about the stubborn clouds today, the drizzle, the nice air that's moving in tonight, the gorgeous weather Friday and Saturday, and we're going to keep an eye on Sunday's forecast. For now, I'm meteorologist Brett Thackara for Beyond the Forecast.